Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here with Trevor and Nate. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Doing great, man. Glad to be back for another episode.
Oh, yeah. Trevor?
Yeah, likewise, buddy. Good to be back. Got a lot to talk about. A lot to get off our chest, I feel like.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
man,
I know.
I forgot. How could I forget?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I meant to open the show that way. I'm the one that screwed up the intro this time.
No. But no, a lot of things to touch on, a lot of heated, I think, conversation we're going to have for you beautiful people out there. I don't know who wants to go first with I guess, handing the bat over to hit the pinata. Who wants to go first on this one?
I'll go first because I probably have the least amount to say about it.
Right.
Over the last 3 seasons, there has not been a worse offense in the NFL than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not just saying that as someone who comes in with nothing to back it up. The numbers say it. The secret's out. It was out before this season. This offense is stale. It's ineffective. And it is just not pretty to watch either. I can't believe there's a worse offense in the NFL this year, but I slightly can because if anybody watched the New York Football Giants last night, that's where you need to look to find one that's worse, and that's about it. So, yeah, we are very stuck as the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. It's unfortunate that we have a lot of pieces. I believe we have a lot of talent around. I just don't think there's enough of it on offense to go around, and there's certainly not the talent at the helm of that offense to make it worthwhile as well. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. I think you two are a little bit more heated and have more to talk about on that.
Trevor, you go ahead. I'll do the finale of it because it's going to be a long-winded one.
I got you. Yeah. I've been warned. Well, you saw how I started the show. And to your point, Nate, the numbers back it up. Just to give you some of those numbers, the Steelers, since Matt Canada has taken over as offensive coordinator, 28th in total points, 25th in total yards, 26th in rushing offense, 30th in rushing touchdowns, and it would appear here close to 30th in passing touchdowns as well. Not a good situation to be in. Not a good situation to be in. And it feels weird, too, because us Steeler fans, we're used to consistency. We're used to the same guys coming back every single year and performing well. And I've said it many times on this program before, we are spoiled. We are very spoiled as Steeler fans. But I don't feel too spoiled with our offense right now, especially with the way they stunk it up down in Houston. And quite frankly, it's making the best part of their team look bad, and that's the defense. When your offense is making the defense look bad, making the whole team bad, it's time for some change. I know the Steelers, they don't do this. They don't change in the middle of the season. They don't do that. But we have a game coming up against the Ravens. It's going to be a tough division battle. Ravens coming into Pittsburgh, coming into Heinz Field. I'm not going to call it the other name. It's Heinz Field. If we stink up the joint again, we have the bye week. Shit could go down.
Right. Just to kind of add in one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Just to kind of emphasize more of Trevor's points, I am going to get into the numbers because I think that it's important to kind of know an extension of what Trevor even said. This is from Here We Go Steelers on Facebook, and I'm sure there's probably 80 Here We Go Steeler pages on Facebook, but I'm trying to credit my sources because I couldn't come up with this on my own. So I'm going to read through this 2-page screenshot on my iPhone that I found that was sent to me by my good friend Luke Bobby. So shout out to Luke for providing me this context. So just how bad has Matt Canada been? Let's look at this. The Steelers have more first quarter drives that end in turnovers than they do in touchdowns since he took over as OC over the last 2 years and change. The Steelers averaged just 4.4 yards per play on first down since he took over, worst in the league. Steelers offense is second worst in the NFL in yards in the first quarter since he took over. They're second worst in the NFL in points in the first quarter since he took over. Steelers offense has had 26 first half drives this season. Only one of those has ended up in the red zone, which is the worst in the NFL. 61% of their drives this season reached third down, which is the worst in the NFL. 55% of their drives result in a 3-and-out, which is the worst in the NFL. There's a few more here. Steelers have scored just 20 points or less 24 times since he took over, which is the worst in the NFL. The Steelers have not had a game with 400 yards of offense since he took over. Every other team in the NFL has had at least 4 of those. Their dropback success rate is second worst in the league. Their rushing success rate is third worst in the NFL. And this page credits John Walker, Alex Kozora, Derek Bell, Josh Carney, Warren Sharp for compiling these stats and then just putting them into one post. So I'll give everybody their flowers for coming up with this. And thank you to all of them for allowing me to provide that context. Nobody owns stats, but certainly they own the rights to who got those stats, and they deserve that credit. So that's just some context for folks out there, how bad this man has been, how bad his offensive mindset has been, how bad his schematics have been, and how bad maybe even some execution's been as well. Is it all on him 100% of the time? No, but surely a lot of that responsibility needs to go to Matt Canada.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It starts at the top.
Right.
It starts at the top. The tone is set in business, in football, in pretty much anything in life. There's a hierarchy, and the tone is set at the top. And our tone right now is a tone of mediocrity, and it's getting sickening to watch Steeler games on Sunday. And I wanted to puke this past Sunday. I really did. Very rarely do I say that about a Steeler game. I didn't even say that about the Niners game just because of how good the Niners were. I expected, okay, we had a little bit of BDS coming out, and the Niners got all over us. But to do that against the Houston Texans, against a rookie quarterback who the Steelers have usually thrived against, with a depleted offensive line, Laramie Tunsil and I believe another guard and offensive tackle were out for the Texans. We got no sacks as well. And we go and score 6 points. We go and score 6 points. I mean, thank God for Boswell making all of his kicks. Otherwise, we wouldn't have even got on the board.
No, and if we didn't have sorry to interrupt you. Final thing, Trevor. If we didn't have short field, we wouldn't have even scored at all. Right. The offense didn't.
That is true. That is true.
The yard line.
Correct. Yep. It's a good point.
I mean, what else indication do you need? And it's like, does our defense have to score a touchdown or two every single game to have a shot? Like, holy smokes. Right. And it was very disappointing. Kenny Pickett coming off his best game as a pro has one of his worst and results in him getting injured and possibly being out for upwards of a month. So pretty terrible display in afternoon overall. Plus you lose your starting tight end and Pat Freiermuth. Right. Not a great display. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry I've interrupted twice. And
No, you're okay. You're okay. And more kind of just on the intangibles and the vibe around this organization right now. I have not seen Tomlin this emotional in press conferences ever. I have not seen him get flustered. I have not seen him show any sort of anger. I mean, granted, he's relatively short with the media. He says his piece and then he's done, but he's usually calm, cool, collected. He's Mike T. He's chill. He's a chill guy. I've gotten a sense of real irritation from him, from Kenny, from a lot of folks on that offense, from George Pickens especially, too. He's been very vocal as we speak. Right. And when you have this sort of, I don't want to say infighting, but you have this sort of bad energy around an offense, it just permeates through the organization, and it did that on Sunday. And the results speak for themselves. Drew, go ahead, please, with your long-winded.
Well, I'm going to open it up with this. And I know I changed the setup here, so I'm echoing off the walls here. Hold on a minute. My bad. So, I posted this post with Tomlin, okay? I watch all of his press conferences. You guys know that. I'm going to play the sound. I don't really care. I think it brings the point across. So
regarding changes regarding. Hell yeah, we got to make some changes, man. That was an ugly product we put out there.
So he says that, okay. So this is where I'm going to blow up a little bit. Black Monday happened, okay. So you say you don't want to put the product out there. You want to bitch about this. You know, the fact is you have all control. I know Con, but you got Bob Papiani after the coverage after the game on the coverage show with Chris Oakes saying this is awful. He's blatantly, and Chris Oakes trying to reel him back in from causing a bad image for being on the Steelers media team there, but all around you got. So in the list down the recklessness of this coaching staff, you have Kenny has 2 concussions. Okay, in the first 2 years, he got 2 concussions last year. Now he has an MCL tear or sprain, whatever. You got Pat Freiermuth. He has 2 concussions, maybe 3 in his first 3 years. And then he gets a hamstring injury. I'm not saying that's on the call of Matt Canada, but that 4th and 1 call, if that doesn't show us guys, the fans, our opponents, this guy is fucking reckless. Okay, there's no way that you call an RPO 4th and 1 in a shotgun set and think you're gonna get it, and then you're putting this kid that, no offense, he ain't Big Ben. He's only 6'2", 225 maybe. He can't take hits, and it just drives me nuts. And we constantly go through this every week. Tomlin wants to say there's going to be changes made. I haven't seen a fucking single change made. You got linebackers, free safeties, cornerbacks, whoever the hell it is, short, whatever the hell it is. Any defensive player knows your offense. The Texans cornerback says they ran the same script as last week. I don't know how and I'm going to call out Dan. I know he's only the owner, but what the fuck? You're also affecting your image of your team here. I mean, what your dad or your grandfather built up years ago, 1933 to now. Like, there's an image the Steelers have, and this is not fucking it. This is Bubby Blister days here. Maybe even worse. Neil O'Donnell. That's just what I have to say. It was sickening to watch that. I'm sitting there. And the other thing I'm going to call out, another coach, defensive coordinator, they're running a naked boot. So why don't we fucking change the mindset of, hey, TJ's going to get a sack every play. He's getting blocked on the other. There's no way of him getting around when they're running that freaking rollout. There's no fucking chance of him doing that. So why aren't we doing maybe a D-back fucking blitz or something? Nothing. That's it. That's all I got to say. I'm just irritated by this organization. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know what it takes for this guy. We cannot go this whole year with him, because who's going to be the next star that gets hurt because of this dumb fuck? I'm going to be honest. I know that was blunt, but
I know. But to your point, Drew, Kenny has a knee bruise. He could be out for this upcoming game, but he probably won't be out long after that, especially with the bye week coming right after. And then Freiermuth out. I believe he has a hamstring injury, 2 to 3 weeks.
It's just, and here's the other statistic, and I brought statistics because I know people are going to say, oh, he's just, being a hothead and bitching. Well, here's the stats for this year. 19.6 yards per drive, and you got 8 offensive points per game. That what are we playing hockey? What the hell are we doing? Soccer? What are we doing? This what the fuck? I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm going to be honest. People are coming after Tomlin's job. You're the fucking coach. Let's do something here. I mean, no offense, and this is going to be broad here, fellas, and I don't want to stay on this all night. Why aren't we calling Ben? You know what I mean? Why not? Offensive coordinator. Why when you just try, even a phone call? Like, I don't know. Get this fucking guy out of here. Just have Ben replace him.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it anyway.
Somebody. I mean,
as much as the fan in all of us wants that to happen, we all want a piece of Big Ben back in the organization. I was just talking to my dad today. If there's one guy that I want to, them to figure out this cloning stuff and them to figure out this, time travel stuff, let's figure it out with Ben. Take it back to when he was 28 and put him in this offense. We would be stellar right now.
But
Father, yeah.
We talked
Oh,
about that. Trevor.
God. No, we did. We did. I can't believe I'm saying these words. I have not said these words on air. I've said them offline, I believe, to you, Nate, and definitely to you, Drew. I want Todd Haley back over this guy. That's how bad it is.
Yes.
That's how bad it is. And the amount of times that I wished bad things, I won't say what they are, but bad things to Todd Haley, it's pennies, so to speak, compared to what I wish on Matt Canada at this point.
Right.
He's driving me. He's driving me crazier than any other member of the Steelers organization over these past 2 decades that I've been a fan of this team.
Right. And just to end my take here, I know Nate has some things he probably wants to say too. Matt Canada, that comment after the game as well, the offense isn't built to come back. You're a jackass. You are
literally insulting yourself and insulting the players by saying that.
Yes. To all the opponents, you just rolled over there. So get him the fuck out. Go ahead, Nate. I'm sorry.
He rolls over anyway with the fact that he's running like the Texans cornerback said, they're running the same script every week.
Right.
And it's a freaking. It might as well be the wing T at Ridgeway High. It's so bad.
Right. All right.
Yeah. Terrible play call by Matt Canada on that 4th and 1. But Kenny Pickett deserves some criticism on that play as well.
Yes.
Bailed out of the pocket way too early. If he would have kept his eyes downfield, he had a selection of wide open receivers if you watch the playback. So it is shared responsibility and also slightly, I guess, shared responsibility on the offensive line because it's not like they did give him a lot of time to figure things out. But if he would have hung in the pocket like he's supposed to do and quit bailing out to his left all the time and running away from his throwing shoulder, he would look down the field and they probably have a first down there. Now, do I agree with the play call exactly how they drew it up? No. But Kenny showing his youth again, showing he's not figuring this thing out. He's not confident. So sorry to throw Kenny under the bus there. And everybody knows I love to do that because I'm not a huge fan of his. Personally, I don't think he's the guy for us. But no, I think that there was a shared responsibility on that for sure. I just wanted to make sure that I emphasize that. Personally, that's just how I feel from watching back a little bit of that film on that play. But it starts with the top, like you said, Trevor. It really does. You can't call that play. And even if that play does get down there, Kenny, you have to be ready for some of these wacky plays that you guys are running, and you got to be tough in there. So,
coaching is everything. I mean, none of us thought Brock Purdy would be the quarterback that he is today, and he is that quarterback. First of all, because he busts ass. He absolutely busts ass. And he has one of the best coaching systems in the league, if not the best, in the San Francisco 49ers. If it weren't for injuries, San Francisco might have 7 Super Bowls by this point.
Right.
They're that good.
Yeah. And it's pretty disappointing. We knew that the 2022 draft class was not a quarterback-heavy draft class. Neither was the 2021 draft class, but it's looking like our buddy Sam Howell and obviously Brock Purdy are the 2 best ones right now. Malik Willis has not been good. Desmond Ridder might not even get to start much longer. I mean, I personally, another thing I think I should point out, I personally don't think there's that large of a gap between our first string quarterback and our third string quarterback. I don't think there is a huge gap between Kenny and Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. In my mind, those 3 guys are career backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Those 3, all of them. And we have 3 of them on our roster right now. That's just my opinion. Mitchell Trubisky did have some flashes in Chicago. Kenny Pickett's had some flashes in Pittsburgh. Heck, Mason Rudolph has had some flashes in Pittsburgh when he's got limited opportunity. But they've also been really, when they're bad, they're all really bad. And that screams to me backup quarterback. They're good enough talent-wise to be there. They can scheme with the best of them. They can prepare, but it doesn't mean they're always going to execute like the top tier guys. And there's not a lot of top tier guys. Like, they don't grow Hall of Famers like Big Ben Roethlisberger on trees, you guys. It doesn't happen every day. It's a blessing to get one of those guys. And I believe right now we personally don't have one of those caliber guys on our roster. And as much as we want to blame Matt Canada, I believe that is another big tick on why this offense is not taking leaps. It is mediocre quarterback play. That's just my opinion.
I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with that. I mean, to me, it's a big old negative feedback loop. Quarterback looks bad. Offensive coordinator is calling the wrong plays, makes quarterback look bad. Offensive coordinator calls the right play, quarterback looks bad. It's either one or the other, and they both just affect each other in a negative way. And like I said before, coming off of the best quarterback in Steelers history, I know the argument is there for Terry winning the 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
But in terms of talent, in terms of will to win, in terms of, just being an absolute dog, I think Ben takes the cake.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that we're doing that and Kenny has to follow suit right after that with the weight of expectations, and that runs through the entire offense too, the weight of expectations coming off of what we were dealing with Ben. We were making playoffs every year. We were making AFC championship games, won 2 Super Bowls.
Got to a third.
Went to a third that I will say to this day, we should have won that game, but that's an aside.
Yeah.
Point being, we're dealing with a rough situation right now. We're not used to that. We haven't dealt with it. Hell, we haven't really dealt with it in our fandoms.
No.
I mean, I know my dad's generation before that, they've dealt with some tough times. I mean, the Steelers of the 80s have been described as one of the most heart-aching things imaginable. Right. Even in the 90s, when they got to AFC title game after AFC title game and lost. Right. And then we get Ben, and if anything, our generation is the most spoiled of Steeler fans because we only knew Ben for 18 years.
Right. I got 2 points, and then we'll move on here, fellas, and you can voice what you think about them. First off is ride with Kenny. Wait, that's okay. Here's what I got to say. Matt Canada gets out. Give Kenny one more goddamn year. Okay, one more year. If it doesn't work, and it's the coordinator, done. I'm going to have to sell all of his rookie cards in my jersey and figure out how the hell I'm going to make that money back. But then the second point is I don't want to go 20 years or 25, 30 years like we did between Terry and Ben. So I hope to God, I know we're never going to probably get another Ben or another Terry. Maybe we will. I hope we do. But I hope to God we don't go that long of a spell that we don't have an actual decent quarterback. So I hope Kenny figures it out or something happens here. But there's concerning things going on with the Buffalo Bills organizations. It's turning out like they did last year in a way. Tre'Davious White goes down with a suffered torn Achilles. Are we concerned in regards to their secondary starting to get depleted here? It's turned out to like last season, they were still able to escape into the playoffs and all that with on the talent of Josh Allen. But are we? Should I pump the brakes here, or should we be concerned? Because it's turning out like last year all over again, Nate.
Yeah, I mean that's a terrible loss for the Bills. I feel bad for Tre'Davious White. He's one of the best secondary defensive players in the league, dealing with a season-ending injury for the second straight year. Who knows what his future holds? I'm hoping that man comes back and plays football because he's a great football player and he's very beloved by the Bills fan base.
Yes.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, if they start to get that thin again in the secondary, they're in some trouble. Okay. They addressed their pass rushing needs, before they've had depth through draft and a couple free agents in the secondary and such. But if they ever lose somebody like Micah Hyde again, when you lose Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White in your secondary, you're in some deep trouble. So if they lose anybody else that, about that level, it's definitely even more concerning. But yeah, definitely a little bit to be concerned about. But I'll tell you what, if your offense keeps playing like it's been since first week, it doesn't really matter who you got.
Yeah.
Scoring
Doesn't
30
matter.
and 40, that's the recipe to success in today's NFL. If you can score in the 30s and 40s, you got a crack at it. So that's just how I feel about White. Hopefully he comes back, but
Right.
what a crappy situation for sure.
Yes.
Mhm. And to that point, Nate, the offense putting up however many points a game it is. I mean, what did they light up Miami for 41 this past week? No one saw that coming, right? Miami's the one that only scored 20 this time. Granted, the Bills didn't score 70, but still. And in tandem with that offense, they have the fourth best passing defense in the league. They're only giving up under 100, just under 170 yards passing, and they have an interception per game. And they're the sixth best defense overall. Even with Tre'Davious White out, that won't affect it terribly much. But like you said, Nate, if they lose even one of their captains in either Micah Hyde or Jordan Poyer, it could be a bit of a snowball effect. I mean, we'll kind of see what happens down the line. One injury, not worried about it yet.
Mhm.
But if someone else in that secondary goes down, and especially someone on that front seven, start to get a little bit more concerned as time goes on. If they can stay healthy and if that offense stays humming, quite frankly, that division is still theirs to lose.
Agreed. Especially after the Rodgers, debacle. Although
Yes.
Zach
Very
Wilson
unfortunate.
left the
Yep.
game of his pro career on Sunday. We will probably talk about what happened at the end of that game because I think it was very questionable. I'm not sure if you guys personally saw it, but I was
Yes.
screaming at my television and I was very upset about the outcome of that game. I've never rooted for the Jets in my life, but I was rooting for him in that game. And I was even finding myself rooting for Zach Wilson, even if I've proclaimed him as a bust. I don't know.
Yes.
If I'm going to tear someone down, I got to equally give them their flowers if they prove me wrong too. I'm just that kind of person. So, yeah, no, it's Bills can press cover, and that's how they beat Miami. And that's how I figured they'd play it.
Mhm.
Beat them.
That's how you beat speed.
Yep.
That's how you beat speed. You said it. You've said it time after time after time. Get up on these guys and start bumping them. Start throwing them around a little bit. Get them off their rhythm. You get them off their rhythm for a drive, 2 drives, a quarter, a half. Snowballs.
Right. Off timing, off schedule. And that's what
Yes.
the name of that game was. And poor Miami tackling. That was also the name of the game.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yes. No. And we are going to touch on that controversial call, but there's one more thing before that we have to touch on here. Chase Claypool really starting the bullshit with the Chicago Bears. So, fellas, that even though the Steelers season's not looking well, that decision to get him out of the organization and into the Chicago's organization looks even better by week's time. Do you see this guy going to be out of the league by the end of this year and maybe not ever be on a team again? Or what do you think is going to happen with his future here? Because he can't just keep his mouth shut and he can't keep the antics down. So what do you?
Nate, I'll let you go. You've been as consistent as anyone on your perspective with him. Obviously, I have a bit of a biased opinion because he was a Notre Damer. I had a little bit higher hopes for him. Hell, I even have the guy's jersey, one of the more regrettable purchases that I've made in the past 5 years. But go ahead, Nate. I'll let you field this.
Sure. Yeah. Not surprised to hear his comments. People in Chicago were very upset. Fields, Claypool, DJ Moore hasn't been like super upset, but he's kind of been honest. Like, we're not playing how on paper we think we should be. This offense should be better, and we haven't been great. This team should be better. We haven't been great. Granted, their defense is banged up. It's really banged up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had big plans for Claypool. He's did nothingness to end last year. They have not won a game in the Chase Claypool era, which looks phenomenal on the Steelers' end. He has all the physical tools in the world. This kid is tall. He is fast. When he gets the ball thrown to him in a general direction, he can catch it. Can't time a pass. He doesn't run his routes hard. He gets pissed when he has to block too much, and he just gets lazy when the ball doesn't come his way what he feels enough times. I believe he could be very well be out of the league or be, practice squad, active squad, sort of back and forther for in the very near future. I believe this is the end of his rookie contract year right now. So this is year 4 for him, I believe, or year 5. So he's coming up on a contract extension, and I don't think anybody's going to give him big money. If you would have told me that after the rookie year that he had with 9 touchdowns, I would have thought you were crazy because he came onto the scene and he was a difference maker for those 11-0 Steelers a few years ago. Now,
Mhm.
it was sort of a fluke, but Chase Claypool did his thing in his rookie season, and now, goodness gracious, he might be on his way back to Canada and playing in the CFL here pretty quick. So,
Yeah.
shame. It's a shame. I'm not going to blame it all on Chase, although I do believe he definitely deserves some of the blame for some of his self-imploding that is going on and not even being a healthy scratch for the game. So,
Mhm.
pretty crazy that his downfall has happened so fast.
Yeah, he's in his 3 years since being a rookie. He actually he got 11 touchdowns. Remember, Matt Canada reverses in the red zone.
9 receiving, 2 rushing, correct? Yeah.
9 receiving, 2 rushing. Had actually a better yardage total the next season because he was getting targeted quite a bit, but only a couple touchdowns. But still, quote unquote, Mapletron has yet to even come close to his rookie season again. And I know for the Bears, he is. I thought I had some stat. Oh yeah, 18 receptions in 10 games with this team. He's averaging less than 2 receptions a game, and he has a catch percentage under 50%. He's catching about 49% of his passes. That is absolutely horrendous. I mean, granted, some of this is on the Bears too. They don't have that great offensive line. Justin Fields hasn't really developed too much in the passing game like they would have hoped. But, those two are kind of one and the same. And the Bears, they just have a long history of not developing receivers the proper way. And kind of leading into that, I want to play a little trivia with you guys just on the Bears' ineptitude at wide receiver. Believe it or not, they've only had 3 receivers in their history, which dates back to 1920, mind you, oldest franchise in the NFL, along with the Packers. They've only had 3 receivers make 2 or more Pro Bowls. Who are they? And I think 2 of them are fairly obvious. One of them's not as obvious.
Well, Brandon Marshall's probably a quick one to come off the board.
Yes.
Alshon Jeffrey is possibly another one.
Nope.
But he was, I believe he got 1 only, and then he went to the Eagles.
One.
He got his other.
Correct.
And then he was out of football not long after that.
Yes.
Mike Ditka, but I think he was a tight end.
Tight end.
So he doesn't count.
Hester.
Yeah. Wide receivers. Yes, but he made his Pro Bowls as a special teamer, punt returner.
Right.
One of them is a running back wide receiver combo, pretty famous for this, and he still plays.
Wow.
Initials?
Blanking on it.
CP. No? Okay. Just not to hold up the show here, Cordero Patterson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a returner, though, too, right?
He was technically a returner as well, along with being a running back. And then the other one, you probably wouldn't have got him. He was a receiver in the 60s and 70s. Dick Gordon had a 10-year career with the Bears. But yeah, that is all that they have produced in terms of multiple Pro Bowls at the receiver position. To kind of further the hammer the point home on the Bears here, they didn't have a Pro Bowl receiver from 2002 to 2012. And they didn't have one from 2014 to 2019 either.
Jesus.
So in modern times and in old times, the Bears have not produced receivers. Even on that 85 team, I don't believe they had a Pro Bowl receiver.
They didn't need one on that team.
No, they didn't need one. That's for sure. They didn't need one. But a lot of this goes, what I'm kind of getting at here, it goes back to the philosophy of the Bears. They're still stuck in the Stone Age.
Oh, yeah.
They're still stuck in the Stone Age. And until ownership management changes, this is where they're going to be in the modern NFL game. That's how this goes, man. It's a passing league, and you are not a passing team.
No.
You don't have the offensive line to do so. You don't have the quarterback to do so, and you damn sure don't have the receivers to do so.
No.
You did, and you kind of misutilized him toward the end there, Allen Robinson.
Couldn't get him the football.
Couldn't get him the football. And then you pick up guys like Chase Claypool at the wrong time. And it's just it's unfortunate for Bears fans because I really thought Justin Fields was going to take a step forward coming into this season. I thought the Bears were going to take a step forward coming into this season, but an 0-4 start and one of the worst offenses in the NFL, not looking too promising.
No.
One thing to add to that, Trevor, before I let Drew talk.
Yes.
To go along with 3 multiple time Pro Bowlers with the Bears organization at wide receiver, their franchise has never had a 4,000-yard passer in a season ever. So just more reinforcement that this offense, the offenses rather that they've had, don't really warrant having receivers be in the Pro Bowl because they don't get the football. So, and wide receivers know that, offensive coordinators know that, the whole 9 yards. So, like, it just goes back to reinforce that point of old offense. We are running the football first, and we will try to win 24-20 or 20-17 instead of getting in the 30 range or closer to that high 20 range that it takes to be successful in the NFL in this high tempo offense era. So,
go ahead, Drew. Yeah, that was real quick. You would have thought Rex Grossman or Jay Cutler would have had one of those seasons, but it never happened.
Big Dick Jay, baby.
Yeah.
Jay had to be close, but Rex Grossman wasn't.
No.
No, I know. That Rex Grossman was more of a dig than anything else.
He was one of the luckiest game managers in a season in NFL history, for sure. I was saying that didn't have some talent, but that was what his style was: game manager and a couple passes, but just don't lose the game. And he did it to a T that year that they got to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
My last little rubbing salt in the wound on the Bears here. Jay Cutler's only 4,000-yard season, passed for 4,526 yards and 25 touchdowns in 2008, his last season as a Denver Bronco before he got to Chicago. Drew, you can talk. I know we keep interrupting you. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. No, we just got to go to this holding call. I think Robert Saleh, said his name right?
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh. His frustration that we saw on camera there and also in his press conference, I think it's all very vital information that you can't fucking call that call on that play. And then you have, what really burned me, and I got up and it wasn't even a Steeler game that I stood up and yelled at the TV, is when that happens and then Patrick Mahomes gets his little, starlight there sliding and doing this and shit, and to the New York fans, while Zach Wilson's looking at Donna Kelsey and Travis is looking at Taylor Swift. It was just a clusterfuck of a game, and I really thought, and I said it in my little promo video, Zach Wilson looked poised in the pocket, and he didn't look great. It was not even close to Aaron Rodgers, but I think he could do it. He held his own against the Chiefs, Super Bowl champs. I don't know. I don't know what you boys think about it, but I think it was a bullshit call, and they're both tussling. So I don't think it should have been called.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 calls. Don't forget. There was the first 3rd and 20 that one of the Chiefs was blatantly holding a Jets defensive lineman on the bottom of the screen.
Like this.
And Mahomes scrambles, and they call it a holding on the defense. And it's like, this should have been offsetting penalties and replay 3rd and 20 again. Yes. So then they miss that. And then they get this baloney love tap stuff with Sauce Gardner, and that's the other bailout on a 3rd and 20 again. So they had 2 cracks to get it. And then all of a sudden, the Chiefs just need to get one more first down, and of course they do. because they were gifted 2 first downs in a row on 3rd and 20, and the Jets defense was just on the field for such a long period through timeouts, through stoppages, through 2-minute warning, and not to mention the first half when they were on the field the whole time anyway. So yeah, I think the NFL got that wrong. I think those calls were bad. I understand the human error side of it, but I just feel pretty strongly that they missed that, and the Jets really did still have a chance to win that football game. Now, granted, would they have won? I don't know, but I would have liked to have found out if they just play it straight up at 20-20 and go into overtime, or the Jets have a chance to get the ball to end the game and get down there for grade the leg. I'd like to see that outcome because the Jets played well enough to win, and I was sick for Zach Wilson fumbling that football because he played his ass off, played his heart out, played the best game as a pro, saved his job, put some haters and doubters to rest there for at least one more week. And then he does that. And I will say, I will never say Zach Wilson doesn't care because I always thought the kid cared. I'll never say that. Never. It's never a character thing with Zach, ever.
Yes.
It's truly, I just don't think he's like, he hasn't. That's just me. And I'm going to say that straight up. And that's my opinion. And, if he proves me wrong, then great. I mean, absolutely doesn't hurt me anything. He doesn't play for my team, but he hasn't shown enough to be consistent and prove that he's not a bust yet. But this was a first step on getting back on track here for his NFL career. So, yeah, just disappointed about the ending, though. So I rambled enough.
Yeah, no, you touched on the off the field stuff too, Nate. Him on the sideline. I'm sure we've all seen the clip of him. I believe he was with Allen Lazard, and he was like, "It's my fault. I lost this game," something along those lines. And then he obviously took full ownership of the loss in the locker room in the post-game presser. That is a complete 180 from the Zach Wilson that we saw last year when he was being totally inept. He wasn't reading defenses properly, wasn't getting the ball out, getting sacked, turning the ball over, throwing picks. And he's like, "No, I'm not affecting the team at all." And now he plays his heart out, plays the game of his life, gets the Jets a chance at a victory against the best team in football. I'll say it, best team in football.
Mm.
And he's taking ownership of it. I respect the hell out of him for that. And for that reason, that could be a big, big turning point for the Jets season. I know they still got a tough couple games heading into their bye week. But hope isn't gone yet by any stretch of the imagination. It never really was just because of how good that defense is.
Mm-hmm.
But if Zach Wilson goes into the rest of this season with the attitude and with the ability that he displayed against Kansas City in prime time, the Jets have a shot.
Okay.
They have a shot. And he's no Rodgers. He is no Rodgers. He's no Rodgers. He's not going to guarantee a 12-5 season. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to will a 12-5 season and maybe even a first-round bye into existence. That's just not going to happen. He has a lot to prove, but he did prove a lot. He did prove a lot on Sunday night, and he deserves some flowers for that. Whether he can keep it up, that's another story.
Right.
But if we get down the line, we get to the end of the season, Jets are in the playoffs, and Zach Wilson's, doing pretty good, managing the game and performing as well as he can. We'll look back at this game and we'll say, hey, that's where shit turned around for the Jets.
Right.
And I want that for the Jets. I want that for the Jets fans. I want that for freaking Fireman Ed, who's still there every week waving his freaking fireman's hat. I don't know how that guy does that. If I were a Jets fan, I probably wouldn't be watching football at this point. But God bless those fans, and I hope it really works out well for them.
Right.
I want Zach Wilson to succeed. He just hasn't proven that he can over an entire season yet.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, I guess the other thing here too, just one more take here I have, and then we'll move on to hot takes that we have towards the NFL, and then you guys, do whatever you want to talk about college. I know NBA, maybe I don't know what you guys want to touch on, but one thing's first though, we need to touch on, and I knew we had to coming into the night. New England Patriots. I got to be honest with you. When they drafted Mac Jones, I thought, hey, maybe this guy, I knew he wasn't going to beat Brady. They drafted him. I thought he'd be decent after how he was in college. I mean, Alabama, they're in the SEC, right? I know that's a stupid
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm in a college pick 'em, Nate. Look at that. But anyway, it's basically NFL competition in a way. Like, these guys are the best of the best before you even make it to the NFL. Most of these guys are making it to the league. Is this guy's job done? Is he done? Like, is there any faith in maybe Bill even having a chance of coming back next season? I don't know his contract situation at all. I didn't really look into that. I should have. But this whole thing's a cluster all around. So what's the status? Bailey Zappi is starting next week. They say he's not, but how much further can we go with this guy?
Yeah, Mac Jones looked really bad, to say the least. Gave the ball away, didn't push it out. And with Bill O'Brien as the OC, he's not going to tolerate that. This is not Matt Patricia and Joe Judge co-offensive coordinator season again. This is Bill O'Brien. This guy's a very good NFL head coach, very good college coach at Penn State, and very good college coordinator at Alabama on, I believe, 2 separate occasions. This guy is good, and I know that it isn't looking like that. They haven't had the best start. They've also lost some close games. But I'll tell you what, Mac Jones has to feel some pressure for sure. He's going to get the start. That's what Bill Belichick said. But I'll tell you what, last year Mac Jones started in a game and Bailey Zappi came in and he played about the same as Mac Jones. But then the next week they go back to Mac Jones and Jones played good enough to keep his job the rest of the year. So I don't know if they just have to tell him, hey, we might do the same thing as last year. Let Zappi come in the middle of a game and you're benched and to get him to wake up, or what. I did not expect Mac Jones to be struggling this bad. I figured he'd be a candidate for one of the biggest leaps this year of any quarterback in the NFL. I really did. I felt strongly about that. But it's just not working for him for whatever reason. The Cowboys had an impressive bounce back win. They handed Bill Belichick his worst loss as an NFL head coach ever. And that's something to hang your hat on for sure. I wouldn't expect Mike McCarthy to be the one personally to have that nod, but good for Mike. He can put up some points. He's proven that time and time again. And that Dallas defense responded, and they put pressure on that New England offense. They didn't run the ball well. Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott, they didn't do well either. Nobody did well. This retooled New England offense, they're not getting it done. And, I'm not going to try to make the comparison, but they're trying to win in a similar way as the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're defensive first. They have game management at quarterback. They have split carries in their backfield, and they have young pieces and a little bit of old pieces on their receiving core and pass catching. It's not getting it done. They don't score enough points. So, Mac Jones not done yet. Pressure's on, though.
Yeah, just kind of going into the belly of the beast with how Mac Jones did against the Dallas defense. 150 yards, 2 picks, and also had a fumble, I believe. Both of those picks went back for touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
Pick 6, yes.
Yeah. So rough day at the office. Some of that's credit, of course, to Dallas. They're one of the most stellar defenses in the NFL. We know that. And we knew they weren't going to cowboy again. That's, as much as I wanted to throw on the flannel and the cowboy hat and say, how about them Cowboys again? I knew they weren't going to do it. And of course, they're getting their fans' hopes up again. Let the hype train roll. That's fine, because we all know how the season's going to end for them.
Right.
But New England, God, this is another organization that isn't used to mediocrity, especially over these last couple decades with TB12, winning 6 Super Bowls for him single-handedly. Well, not single-handedly, but you know what I mean, catching him up to the elites in the NFL, tied for, most Super Bowls in the league now. It's a rough time in New England, and this is, I would say, it's not unprecedented territory for Bill Belichick. Obviously, he dealt with this with the Browns in the early 90s. But damn, he hasn't had to deal with this difficult a situation in a long time, especially on the offensive end of the ball. And this is another one of those things where the offense is so bad, it's making the defense look bad too. And the Patriots normally have a pretty solid defense. They're not a splashy defense by any means, but they're just matter of fact. They can shut you down. They got a great front seven, and they got a good enough back end to keep up.
Yep.
But I don't know. When you're throwing 2 pick sixes, and when you're only keeping the ball for under 25 minutes of the game, you're not dominating time of possession. You can't run the ball. You can't really do anything. It's just going to affect the whole team. And of course, they go into Dallas. They lay an egg. They lay an egg, and this is the type of team that's going to lay a few eggs. The Steelers have already laid 2 of them. So,
yeah.
If that's the trend, then the Pats probably got a couple more headed their way before the season's out. And if it means Bailey Zappi has to come in and, throw a couple touchdowns, that's great. I get an 84 overall Bailey Zappi and Madden Ultimate Team of the week. That's great. I'll enjoy the hell out of that. But yeah, weirdly tough to be a Patriots fan, and weirdly tough to judge their quarterback situation right now because you have the offensive coordinator. That was the issue last year. You had a defensive coordinator calling the offense.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to go? It went about how you expected. But now you got Bill O'Brien in there. You got a solid run game. You got a solid offensive line with decent receivers. You got to produce. And he hasn't shown anything near that at this point.
One other thing to add, it was a tough break for the New England defense, too. You lose Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez in the game. That's brutal. Lose 2 of your best
that's true too.
players in the game. Not that it's directly reflects Mac Jones, but certainly it puts more pressure on when you have 2 guys that are 2 of your biggest players. They can potentially, they're not out there making plays. That puts a little bit more pressure on the offense to try to put some more points on the board eventually. I don't know exactly the status of their injuries at this point, but it was tough to see those 2 go down because it's like, man, what else can go wrong today for this team? That was tough. That was tough for New England to see on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, no, but I got 3 hot takes here. You guys got, I didn't know if we were doing a whole segment here. Let me get the thing up here for us here. Hot takes from the boys. So here's another hot take. So Ron Rivera still remains on the hot seat for his job. I don't understand how they easily could have beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I just want to push that question out to you guys. Should he really be on the fucking hot seat? I don't understand that. It's plus 1,000 for his job.
I don't think so, but you got to think this is a new ownership in here. It's not their coach that they hired.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
yes.
And I'll say this too: their division's brutal. I know the Giants are not what we thought they were at all, but Philadelphia's good. So is Dallas. So you're seeing 4 games against really good teams in your own division, and if the Giants ever wake up, they have the talent on paper to be pretty dang good too. I mean, you saw it last year, and I thought they got better. For sure. You had Waller and. You had a few better receivers who actually want to be there. Kadarius Toney's would have been the best receiver on this team again this year, but he didn't want to be there. So when you get guys who want to be there, that's important. But I'll tell you what, they can't block for Daniel Jones at all and not have a market hurting them. But still, go back to Ron Rivera. He shouldn't be on the hot seat. If this team goes around 500, maybe contends for a playoff spot, I think that's right about where they should be. The only thing though is he's had some chances. This has been going on for a few years here, and he's pretty much got them stuck. So I don't know if they think if they get a more offensive minded coach, that'll help him take a leap, because I don't know. They think they got Howell for a cheaper contract. They got 3 really good receivers, and they got 2 pretty decent running backs. So I don't know. I personally don't think so, but it's a new regime, and they got to make those calls. But I hope not, because I think Coach Rivera is a very good one. I think he's a great person too. So.
Yeah. To that point, and to kind of bring the other side of the argument in, there's a reason why they call him Riverboat Ron. He's pretty much constantly in the 7 to 9 range, and I just looked it up just now. In 6 of his 13 NFL seasons, he's been between 7 and 9 wins. Obviously, he had the immaculate 2015 year, 15-1, went to a Super Bowl with Cam Newton as MVP. We all know how that turned out for them and for the Broncos and Von Miller. But yeah, had a couple other seasons where he had 11 and 12 wins. But other than that, he's been mediocre. And like you said, Nate, I don't know if this management is going to settle for mediocrity anymore. They need to flip the script, especially coming off of the management and ownership that they were just dealing with for years upon years upon years. I mean, unfortunately, this team hasn't really been all that relevant in this century, if I'm being totally honest. They haven't really been relevant since, I would say, the early 90s when they beat, Buffalo for the Super Bowl. And yeah, management's going to need to make a statement. They're going to want their guy. They're not going to want a previous guy that's with them. And to your point, Nate, too, he is a defensive coach, hence why he just kind of sticks around with, Riverboat Ron. Tomlin's kind of the same way, just mediocrity. That well-established floor. You're not going to go 2-15 or anything like that. But you're also not going to make the playoffs too consistently. It's going to be very sporadic, and that's what it's been. I mean, granted, he didn't win a division title with Taylor Heineke and almost beat, I believe, the eventual Super Bowl champion in Tom Brady and the Buccaneers that one season. So there's a lot of push and shove when it comes to Ron. Great human being, absolutely great human being. That redemption story gets me absolutely every time, and I'm very happy that he's a very healthy human being as we speak.
Right.
But as it stands, his days might be numbered. Should they be? Probably not. But management wants to flip the script, and they're going to do that however they have to do it, and it usually starts with the coach.
No, and then I've been picking on him many weeks now, but I have to say, you're 4.5-point favorites. I think you guys know who I'm going after. Cincinnati Bengals. Boys, when are they going to kick this up? I mean, 27-3 loss to the Titans. I'm not picking on Joe Burrow. The defense, I don't know what the fuck is going on with them. The team is just, I would say, maybe not as bad as the Steelers, but they're stagnant. Very bad. There's not really anything. I don't even know what the hell to say. I mean, these guys, they're coming off of, almost making it the Super Bowl and, being in the Super Bowl. And then this year, they're just like, I was expecting Eagles, Bills, Bengals all over again. You know what I mean? Chiefs up there as well. What the fuck what do they need? What's going on?
Got to get Joe Burrow healthy. Got to be able to get him to roll out of the pocket and become a runner again.
Okay.
I'm going to say good luck.
Yes.
With that. I'm going to say good luck with that, because there's people out there that think that if they rest Joe Burrow for a week and then the bye week and then he comes back in a third week, that he'll be good as new. But I don't think that's the case. I think this calf injury is a little bit worse than what people know. I don't know what it is. It must be kind of bad though. He was out for a little bit of the preseason, didn't play any of the games, missed training camp, all that stuff. But yeah, it's a shame to see how bad he looks, how immobile he looks back there. It's weird. That's not the way that Joe Burrow plays. He's not a stationary drop back and pass. He can be, but that's when he's also can do it, then to roll out, then to run.
Yeah.
And
He's complimentary.
He's complimentary. Absolutely. Yeah. So to see him barely be able to move. It's weird. You know, he looks old, but it's not old. It's not age. It's injury and playing hurt. And then they lose T. Higgins, you know, in that game. He exits the game. Luckily, he still got 2 really good pass catches, a good back. And who knows? Maybe maybe something will click, and they'll be like, "All right, our backs are against the wall. We got to get going quick." But tell you what, the panic button is being pushed for sure now. You know, this was a really bad showing. Joe Burrow was my fantasy quarterback again this week. Somehow I pulled out another win, even though he scored less than 5 points. I had enough support around him to get it done. But yeah, they're panicking. And I'll say this. Luckily, the AFC has not been as good as we thought it would be coming in. There's a lot of teams that have looked not as good as we thought. Obviously, the Jets being one of them because of injury. The Steelers are, 2-2, but they're a pretty bad 2-2 football team. The Bengals still have a chance in that division, because not everybody's played up to par. The AFC West is lousy other than the Chiefs, I believe. AFC is pretty lousy, even if Jacksonville has played okay at times. They still have a chance, but they better get busy if they want to make an AFC make the AFC playoffs, make the NFL playoffs. But I'll say this. Even if they don't win the division, they are a team in January and February you do not want to see. They're experienced, they're high power, and they can get it going quick. Because last year they started similarly to this, didn't go quite as long, and the middle of the run in the season that they went on was unreal. So I'll tell you what, I've learned my lesson. You don't count this team out, but definitely should be concerned about them a little bit.
I'm not going to count them out. I'm not even going to push the panic button until I see an E by their name, and meaning eliminated from playoff contention in the standings.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to see that E. And if I don't see that E, guess what? They can still make a run. It's late season Bengals. You have to literally take this stuff seriously when it comes to the Bengals. They don't hit mid-season form until mid-season. We're not mid-season yet. I will say this too. They have an opportunity here to have a bit of a launching pad into the rest of the season, going to Arizona, playing the Cardinals. Cardinals, as we know, they've impressed so far. They've been pretty decent, a lot better than most people expected. But we've seen this a lot too, where a lot of these teams that are supposed to be really bad, they start out well, and then they peter out after week 4 and 5. This could be that petering out for the Cardinals, and the Bengals could start to ramp it up.
Right.
Granted, like you said, Nate, Joe Burrow's got to get on the move a little more. He's got to roll out. He's got to be able to throw on the run. Tough to do that when you have the calf injury that he's got. And like you said, it's probably worse than what we actually know. Good news is T. Higgins not expected to miss time. I just saw that today. I don't think he's practicing today or tomorrow, but he might on Thursday, and then he might not miss time. So kind of a silver lining at the end of the week here, if there was any for the Bengals against the Titans. There really wasn't. That was, oh my God, was that ever bleak? And the fact that their only win right now is a squeaker against the Rams. And squeakers, putting it mildly, that resembled a Steeler game right there.
It was bad.
It was ugly. They won, but they won very, very ugly. Obviously Mixon had a good showing in that game, but still they don't look nearly as elite as we know them to be. But like Nate said, I can't count this team out, and I'm not going to count them out until I see an E by him in the standings. And I have a good feeling I'm not going to be able to see that.
Right. No, and then I got a lot of shit. Jameis Winston, the Derek Carr situation. I was saying, Jameis would be. I didn't expect Derek to come back already. I was so people out there, that sent me little Snapchats and little Instagram messages. Listen, this guy wasn't even supposed to fucking play. Okay, so let's pump the brakes on that. Okay, but he comes in. I really wanted Derek Carr to have better situation down there in New Orleans. He's coming off an injury. I get that, boys. Jameis Winston. Some reason I didn't watch that game, but somehow was he thrown in on one drive because he has one interception. So I'm not sure. I didn't watch the game. Were they flip flopping? Because Taysom Hill also had a passing attempt as well. I mean, it looks like he wasn't ready to come back.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll work in Taysom Hill just randomly as it is.
Right.
Whether they put Winston in for a drive, I don't know. I did not watch the game either. I just saw the final and the highlights, and obviously Baker's highlights. So.
Right, he's on.
He's a humming. He's a humming.
Which is terrifying me because he might get commercial time now, and I don't want him back on the TV. So,
Are they gonna shoot a Progressive commercial at Raymond James? Is that what they're gonna do?
I hope not. Bruce Arians. Nah, fucking never mind. All right.
You're not getting Todd Bowles on there.
No.
He's like bran flakes. He's about as dull as they come.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
He just likes smash mouth football and nothing else about anything else that goes on.
Yep.
He hates interviews.
Yep.
But any BS, Todd Bowles wants nothing a part of it.
Right. No, but concerning for Derek Carr here, does he? I mean, I don't even know what to say on that, boys. I mean, I think he's still injured. I think he rushed back too early here. Like I was telling you guys, that joint, Ryan Clark was getting into it. He said he dealt with it because, the guy is probably one of the most prolific fucking hitters in NFL history. And he's saying this sucks. So did he come back too early? The Saints should have maybe put the brakes on him. I mean,
the results certainly show that he was the definition of check down Charlie in this game. 23 of 37, 127 yards. Granted, I don't think he had any turnovers, but with that level of not throwing the ball down the field, not being able to move the ball, the evidence kind of speaks for itself. I was anticipating him to miss at least this week, and then maybe even into next week.
You're right.
It's a long season, and the Saints are at 2-1. They had a defense to sustain Jameis Winston's play. That's one that kind of baffled me as well. I thought they could have stuck around if Jameis Winston was in there.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely would have had a lot more consistent play on offense. I don't know if they would have produced a whole lot better of results, but I would think they would have at least scored a touchdown. They didn't even score a touchdown.
No. 3
field goals.
Yeah.
And Kamara obviously struggled as well, and their leading receiver, Michael Thomas, 4 for 53. Yeah, it's not going to cut it.
No.
It's not going to cut it. I don't care how good your defense is. They're not going to hold them to 8 points.
Right.
Too often. The other concerning part overall is just injury or hurt regardless. Derek Carr hasn't been that great anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not sorry. I'm not.
That's a good point.
He just hasn't been good this year at all. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give Cole a shout out. He said, "You guys are going to see what I'm talking about." And so far, he's right. And I think Eric said it too. He's like, "You guys are going to see what we're talking about here."
Right.
And, honestly, I think they may have flipped one middle of the road to slightly back half, in terms of top 30 quarterbacks in the league from Carr and Dalton and all that. It's just been a mess. They can't find the next guy after Drew Brees. They're searching for the guy. Pittsburgh for their guy. New England searching for their guy. The only one that has their guy from that era is, maybe the Packers. They believe so.
Maybe.
And
still unproven, but yes.
The Chargers have one. No question. Justin Herbert is unbelievable. But, they've just mediocre quarterback after mediocre quarterback, and the Raiders too, that mediocre quarterback play after mediocre quarterback play. And I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for Jimmy and what he's done in his career, and I have a lot of respect for Derek Carr as a man, as a football player, and I'll never question that man's toughness. This dude plays through a lot.
Yes, he does.
He played through a broken back. He's played through this really bad AC joint injury. He's played with, I think he had a really bad knee injury. I believe he broke his leg before to come back. This guy's tough as they come, man. So even if he's struggling, I still want the guy to succeed. And
right.
I hope he gets it back on track, because this this is painful to watch how bad Derek Carr has been. And I understand he wasn't great last year, but I think he's gotten worse so far in New Orleans, to be honest, which sucks.
Yeah. No, I agree, boys. But whatever you guys want. Any hot takes?
Real quick to correct myself, Derek Carr did have a fumble. I didn't think he had a turnover, but he did have a fumble.
Okay.
So yeah, probably about 3 fantasy points on the day.
Something like that. Had a 29.8 QBR. Taysom Hill had a better QBR from one 13-yard completion than Derek Carr had all day.
God damn.
Brutal.
Sad. And of course, Baker Mayfield on the other side, one of the games of his life, 3 touchdowns, 246 yards.
Right.
But
good for Baker.
Yeah.
Look great. Great so far. Not a big fan of his with his antics and some of the stuff he's done. And
yeah.
You got to feel happy for these guys that nobody gave the Bucs a shot. Nobody. I admit I didn't. But they were one of the worst. And they look like one of the best. They're amongst the top in the NFC. I think they're second or third place overall in the NFC. They're right there. Now, do I think they'll sustain it? I don't know. I doubt it. But hey, you get out to a 3-1 start, you got to win 6 or 7 more, and you're right. You're going to be right in the playoff mix for sure. So they're off to what they needed. They've done what they needed to do. Now they don't have to play catch up, and they have a good division that they can play in, and they can win some games in there. And I think they'll be there right till the end for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. I do have one thing to report coming out of Lake Placid. Former Pro Bowl tight end and Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, was also a tight end with the Patriots. Russ Francis unfortunately passed away in a plane accident at Lake Placid. I believe it was on Sunday. He was 70 years old. He played 167 career games from 75 to 88, had 393 receptions, over 5,200 yards, 40 touchdowns. And a lot of guys, they have trouble finding their life after football. This guy certainly did not. He immediately got his pilot's license. He was a pilot for almost 50 years. And he actually had recently bought and became president of Lake Placid Airways, an airport up in Lake Placid. He was the president starting right back here in July. And I figured this about him on the Lake Placid Airways website. He owned and operated the first civilian air ambulance service in Hawaii.
Wow.
Which I thought was very random, but still. Yeah, and he also owned and operated a scenic charter helicopter service down there, which obviously Hawaii, beautiful views, a lot of good business down there. He owns and piloted a P-51 Mustang and a Hawker Sea Fury British fighter jet. He had an FAA clearance to run single and multi-engine helicopters and planes, and if it's any indication, I have a quote here from his brother. Flying was my brother's lifelong passion and perhaps a fitting way for him to go. Just very, very unfortunate situation coming out of Lake Placid there, but it sounds like this guy lived a pretty full life, affected a lot of people in a positive way, and all the thoughts, prayers, and well wishes to his family and those affected by this tragedy, and not to make it even sad, but even more sad. But I did read right before we got on this show that the plane that he crashed on underwent an electrical failure right before he passed. And I do want to bring up too, there were a couple of people that were on the plane with him. Richard McSpadden. And actually, that was it. Richard McSpadden, a former commander of the U.S. Air Force himself. So, thoughts and prayers to all of those affected by that, to McSpadden, to Francis, and just unfortunate.
Yeah,
unfortunate situation. But like I said, at least the guy more than found his life after football. and obviously the outpouring coming from the Pats, the Niners, and everyone involved with those organizations speaks enough to the kind of person that guy was.
Right. No,
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Right.
What
No.
resonates with me is, if you affect that many people in a positive way, not even from football, like that's so powerful.
Yes.
Resonated with me and what I thought, and I'm glad that his brother said it so that I didn't have to be the one to say it if it hadn't been said already.
Yep.
He may have lost his life, but he gained a second life from flying, and he went doing what he loved, his other passion, his second biggest passion, or maybe now his first biggest passion. He was in service. It was peace to him. So not that there's any comfort when we lose people what we love and people that are good for the world, but there's good comfort to know that he lived his life the right way, and he went out on his, not quite his terms, but he went out doing what he loved to do. So I think that there's some beauty to that in a grim situation like this, for sure.
Yeah. No, terrible. Thoughts and prayers to the family and the family of the other gentleman on board. That's terrible. It's terrible. I saw that. I was just like, shit. I want maybe one of you guys to see, because I get choked up when I'm talking about that stuff.
Terrible.
Any human life, it's awful. So
if there's any indication from if his brother reflects how the family's feeling in any way, hopefully they're at peace,
right.
At least with some semblance of peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough when you lose someone that close to you, and father, brother, husband, very sad.
Yes. No, I appreciate bringing that up, Trevor. That was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just going to transition from that into college and NFL picks. Nate, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to touch on before we get to those.
No, I'm good today.
Okay.
I'm excited to make picks and for you to kind of lead us through that here tonight.
Sure. Absolutely. So I'll start with college, and then we'll kind of transition back to the NFL, because it's another action-packed week of college football. 1 week that I'm very much looking forward to, and that's not just because Notre Dame actually has a manageable game this week. Hopefully they don't drive my blood pressure up too much this week.
Right.
Although I do want to touch on this too. Riley Leonard, I haven't seen much injury news since then. I hope that guy's okay. As much as I was excited that Notre Dame recovered the fumble, won the game, I immediately went to, oh my God, is this guy okay? Because that guy played his absolute ass off.
Right.
A lot of people are saying they deserved to win the game. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, credit to that guy. I hope he has a future on Sundays. Yeah. And hopefully this injury doesn't affect him too badly, because I hate to see that with any athlete. And I will say this too, and it's not to beat my own drum again, but rarely have I seen the opposing quarterback go up to the tent after the game and check on the guy. And Sam Hartman did that for Riley Leonard. I was it restored my faith in humanity a little bit when you see something like that.
Right.
Very, very much a class act by Sam Hartman. I expect nothing less. But yeah, I just hope Riley Leonard's able to continue the season, or at the very least just continue his playing career, and hopefully he has a future on Sundays. Maybe he's the next Steelers quarterback. Who knows?
To add on to that, Trevor, I believe he's ranked 19th on Mel Kiper's big board for prospects. So
yes.
This dude's first-round talent. Will he go first round? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. Play. He is a nice.
I figured out the hard way. That dude can play.
He can.
Yeah, we shut him out first half, but they just kept coming. And Riley Leonard, he was a problem. He was a problem.
And I even said to Trevor that night, because we were on there, Nate, and I was. I know how much he loves Notre Dame, so I didn't want to kiss the guy's ass. I was like, that guy. I'll tell you right now, that guy showed me something out there for a Duke quarterback. That
Oh yeah.
has
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
fucking heart. I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Hey, Daniel Jones would like a word.
Yes, yeah.
This guy, I'm very excited to see where his career goes, though. That Riley guy. I mean, he's
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm absolutely pulling for the guy.
good guy.
Oh yeah. Class act.
Yes.
And I've never heard a situation where he asks his mother to text him or call him "you suck" because he needs negative motivation. That was, and he wears the wristband that says "you suck." His mother wears the wristband. As much as it was irritating me that she was getting a lot of airtime, it's actually kind of cool that story came out. College Game Day did a little piece on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, on to this week.
Yes.
First and foremost, we have the game day location. We have the Red River Rivalry, the 119th all-time meeting between Oklahoma and Texas. Weird that this is a noon game as well. I hate that this is at noon. It's well deserving of a primetime slot, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. Texas, they lead the all-time series 63-50, and there's 5 ties mixed in there back when you could have ties. Thank God there's none of those anymore. Texas favored by 6.5, and weirdly, both teams with decent defenses coming into the week, giving up around 300 yards a game. Not too bad. So could be a bit of a non-traditional Big 12 matchup, but Lord knows it's going to be close. There's going to be, I would say, a decent amount of scoring, and both teams coming off of pretty big wins to start off Big 12 play as well. Oklahoma beating Iowa State, and then Texas beating Kansas. I believe both of those were by 24 plus points, somewhere in that neighborhood. But picks, fellas, who wins the Red River rivalry game?
Just
Glad I got through that alliteration.
I have our pick'em list up right now for week 6, so I want everybody to be aware. I'm going Texas. That's a game we have to pick. I'm going Texas all day.
Okay.
I'm picking Texas as well. Quinn Ewers, Trevor's Heisman pick looks pretty good still.
My original Heisman pick, my secondary Heisman pick, not doing so hot right now for that, but continue.
Right. Trying to give you your flowers and you're tearing yourself.
I know, but I got to stay humble, Nate. I got to stay humble.
Quinn Ewers looks like the real deal. The locks are gone. The buzz cut's here. He's a changed man, both, in his faith, but in his play too. I don't know if it's having Arch Manning breathing down your neck or Steve Sarkisian having a couple more heart-to-heart conversation with him, but this kid's changed. He was talented as all get out before, but man, this kid's took a leap. They're battle tested. They've played Alabama each of the last 2 years. They played Kansas, who has a nice offense, and they spanked them. Oklahoma hasn't really been as tested as Texas. I like Texas, but I'm not going to sit here and say Oklahoma sucks, because I think Oklahoma's got a nice team, and they definitely will, I believe, challenge them in this game.
Yeah, I probably got to go with Texas as well. It's hard to pick against a team that handed Alabama their first non-conference home loss since 2007. In the first game of the season, no less, just as we all expected, right? But yeah, everything you said, Nate. Quinn Ewers, real deal. It'll be a bit of a shootout. I'll probably take the over, whatever it is. I honestly did not look at the over/under. Probably should have, but I know it's high, but probably got to take the over in that game. But Texas to go to 64-50 in the all-time series. An interesting one in the SEC. And I will warn you in advance, I have a couple SEC games on here. So LSU against Missouri. LSU going on the road. They're a 6.5-point favorite. But Missouri, 5-0 themselves, and they got Brady Cook, who, get this, set an SEC record last week, 348 straight passes without a pick. I mean, he's still 100 off the pace of the all-time NCAA record, which is held by Louisiana Tech alumni Colby Cameron, who had 444 straight passes without a pick. But still, Brady Cook, 348 straight passes, no picks, and Missouri's undefeated. We'll see how that shakes out during conference play with the SEC here. But LSU, we know how good their offense is. We know how good Jane Daniels is, but their defense, giving up the second most passing yards in the SEC. They do have 4 picks, but obviously the offense has been enough to compensate at times. They're 3-2. They're 3-2. And if they lose this game, Brian Kelly might be dicey. He's not on the hot seat by any means in the first year of a big contract, but anytime I see Brian Kelly fail, it brings joy to my eyes. It brings a smile to my face. But yeah, interesting one in the SEC here. If Missouri wins, they go 6-0, which I don't really know the last time that's happened. Could have been last season for all I know. I didn't do that portion of the research, but I figure it's been a bit. Who do we got here, fellas?
Fuck. LSU.
I'm picking LSU. They got to get a win. They're pissed. They should have won against Ole Miss, they think. That game
They think.
Atrocious. If anybody watched, it was atrocious. What a way to cap off the night there. I know there was some Pac-12 games, but that was the game that everybody on the East Coast and Midwest was kind of holding on to before they went to bed.
Yes. And
that was a stink sandwich of a game to watch before going to sleep. And then we woke up and watched the stink sandwich in London, then watched the stink sandwich for the Steelers. Then I watched the terrible end to the Dallas and Patriots game. So it was just a rough kind of sequence there for me personally. But my long-winded answer is I'm picking LSU. Missouri, thanks for playing, but now you're in the SEC play. I know you beat Kansas State. They're not as good as they were last year. It took a miracle field goal to do it. It's time for Missouri to get the wake-up call. You're still going to get a bowl, but this is where the road starts to turn for Mizzou.
Yeah.
Well, you all know who I'm rooting for, but who I'm picking is different from that answer. I'm with you guys. I'm on LSU. It's to quote Tom Hanks in the movie Sully, "Can we get serious now?" LSU is going to get serious. I think they win by 10.
Right on.
Yeah. And another SEC game here. Alabama at Texas A&M. Bama leads this all-time series 12-3. They're favored by 2.5. And we know Bama's been kind of dicey at the quarterback spot this season. I probably don't need to bring up the USF game again. But Texas A&M on kind of the skids too. Jimbo Fisher signing a big guaranteed 10-year, $94.95 million deal. Fully guaranteed through the 2031 season. As of yesterday, when I looked this up, he has a $77 million buyout. And like I said, Texas, $77 million. How's that nice little chunk of change for you?
Jesus.
But yeah, as it stands, Texas A&M 4-1. Remind me who their only loss was again. I don't remember it being that quality of a loss.
Who are you saying? Alabama?
Texas A&M. Who was their only loss? I know Alabama's only loss was Texas. Texas A&M lost to Miami. Excuse me, but it gave up 48 points to Miami, and that's when everybody kind of got on the Jimbo Fisher's on the hot seat train. I think that train has left the station, but still, big game in Aggie land. Who do we got?
I don't fuck with Nick Saban, so Alabama.
I'm with DB. I can't pick against Saban. Saban good against Jimbo. This is some beef coming out via the players. Jimbo and Nick Saban, they don't really care for each other. At least the media makes it seem that way. Their comments have been going back and forth the last couple of years. I'm excited for this one, but I think Alabama's figured out their offense a little bit. And I think A&M, although they can score two a little bit more than last year, I think that Alabama will grind this one out and beat up on the Aggies a little bit.
Yeah, another game where I'm with you guys. I just can't bet against Nick Saban. And plus that spread is awfully attractive. I'm just going to say that. It's 2.5. I believe the over-under sits at 46.5. Yeah, it's going to be a grinded out type of a game, though. Alabama's offense has struggled thus far. They have under 200 passing yards a game, and they're a bottom half offense in the SEC, which is weird to say, but they are. I think that starts to change here, though. I think Alabama gets a big win in Aggie Land. Then the Pac-12 soon to become the Pac-2. Of course, right as they're about to become the Pac-2, they start getting hot. Another Pac-12 game here, Washington State at UCLA. 63rd all-time meeting between these schools. UCLA leads the series with 40 wins, but they're also coming off a pretty ugly loss to a backup quarterback against Utah, lost 14-7. Granted, they had a bye week to mull it over and try to fix some things, but we'll kind of see how that goes. And then undefeated Washington State, they also had a bye week last week, but they're coming off a win over DJ Uiagalelei and Oregon State. So kind of teams that are trending in two different directions here. But only 4 teams averaging 500-plus yards per game in the Pac-12. And one of those is Washington State. Washington State also one of the only 2 teams in the Pac-12 to average 400-plus passing yards the game. The other one being Michael Penix and Washington. And then on the flip side, UCLA with their great defense only giving up 11 points per game and 263 yards per game with 186 passing, 186 of those being passing yards. Granted, they're not in Pac-12 play yet, but there's still something to be said for only giving up 11 points a game, I think.
It's big programs, man. I'm telling you, after a big loss, I'm going UCLA. They got smacked in the mouth, and I think they hold them to 10 points.
Interesting.
This is coming from a guy that doesn't even watch fucking college except Penn State.
No, I know. All right. I dig it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to pick a winner in this one, but since you're forcing my hand, I'm going to go Washington State in a close one.
Yes.
I don't know. Chip Kelly, to me, his time has passed. I know that they have a good team. I know they've been ranked. Washington State, they're a pretty good football team, and nobody really was expecting it. I think that Washington State can put up some points on UCLA. Chip Kelly's never been one to have a great defense, so I'm going to go with in this one and go with Washington State in a close one, but I'll take Wazoo. I believe you said at UCLA.
It is at UCLA, yes. Yeah. I will take Washington State as well. I think their offense is a bit too high-powered for UCLA's right now. I don't think it's going to be a terribly high-scoring game, but I still think Wazoo will get around 28-31 and take care of business in UCLA. I think they'll win by a score. Then another kind of interesting one. Of course, I got to bring up the media darlings of the first quarter of the season here. The Colorado Buffaloes go on the road, play Arizona State. They're only 4-point favorites, though, after almost pulling off a big comeback against USC and Shedeur Sanders absolutely lighting it up. What do we think here?
You know my feelings on Deion, Trevor.
I do. You've spoken about them on PlayStation several times.
We'll leave it. Yeah. At Colorado.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. You made your feelings known, DB.
Yes. Colorado wins, though.
Picking Colorado. Yeah, this is the start of Arizona's absolutely brutal schedule.
Oh, Arizona State, bud. Arizona State.
Yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood you, but still,
Yes.
This is Colorado. This is a game they got to win, and they figured things out in the second half. I think they're going to put a smacking on Arizona State. I think they're going to open it up and say, "Hey, we're back. We figured this offense out a little bit. We almost beat USC, even though we were down like 4 scores going into halftime." I'm picking Colorado big.
I'm with you guys. I might go alt spread. I'd say 9.5 out of Colorado, and that's honestly being a bit safe. I think they win by at least 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think they open it up big time, and I think they get a big statement win before the real cream of the crop of their schedule starts to kick in. I mean, it already kicked in with USC, but it only gets tougher from here, playing the likes of Oregon and Wazoo down the line. So, going to be very tough for those folks there. That's really all I had for college. I was going to move on to NFL picks here. If my internet will let me load it. There we go. You guys have already kind of touched on this game. Bears, Commanders, Washington favored by 5.5. We know the state of the Bears right now with Chase Claypool and with that offense. We also kind of know the state of the Commanders with Riverboat Ron potentially being on the hot seat. But Thursday nighter in Washington, D.C., who gets the win?
From a bettor's perspective, would stay the hell away from this game. Maybe do stats, but do not. I would not
Yes.
do anything
Oh, yes.
with a parlay money line on this. This is a dumpster fire of a game. 13 to fucking 10 kind of game like last year's Thursday night. That was just hard to watch. That's what I expect from this game. Just terrible. I don't even know who to pick. If I have to pick somebody, Trevor, Commanders 13, Bears 10.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I'll give a little more credit than that. I mean, Washington's offense will score more than 13. I don't know about the Bears' offense because Washington's defense does have some pieces. They have a good pass rush.
Right.
I think that's
They do.
going to be in this game. If they get to Fields a couple times, that'll shake him up for sure. He's not good against pressure. And I think Washington's offense will have a good time with this depleted Bears defense, especially in the secondary. I'll take Washington. I think they'll cover that 5.5 point spread. I think they'll win by more than that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nate. The depleted Bears defense, and plus, you got B-Rob in the backfield who's having a nice, solid season. Sam Howell's better than we thought he was. Yeah, give me Commanders by 7, I'll say. Let's rip the Band-Aid off here. Ravens, Steelers. We've talked about both of these teams enough to know what the state of the organizations are. What's going to happen here? And I'll go last because I kind of have a hot take on this one.
Well, fuck, Nate, I'm going to be long on this, and I apologize, but they're both the. What are we at?
No,
37.
please.
Okay, I'm cutting myself down to a
Sure.
minute. I'm going to watch this timer while I talk. There's going to be a big injury in this game. I don't know if it's going to be on the Ravens or Steelers. There's always is a big injury. That's what I'm scared about. We're already missing Kenny. Just hope to God it's not Pickens or Notch or somebody. I mean, but we've been here before with Trubisky coming in against the Ravens. So I'm going to say I have to go Steelers. I'm never going to bet against them, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going to come out of it. The defense is going to win us the game, though, if we do win.
Yes.
Because we can shut down Lamar Jackson.
Steelers in a close, absolutely lousy, miserable game.
Yes.
I think we could win like 13-11. Like that's, and I wish I had a better score, but this is my DB game, 13-10. Like I think it could be like 13-11 because these games with the Ravens are always usually pretty ugly, close, no matter who's playing, who's not. People have a chance. If you remember, RG3 started on a Wednesday at 3:30. They should have no chance, and the Steelers somehow pulled it off, and Trace McSorley came in and played better than RG3 and almost helped them win the game.
Yes.
But, hey, I'll say this. Mitch Trubisky, he has redemption, and I think he's going to get it done. But I don't think it'll be a lot of him getting it done as opposed to the Steelers defense getting it done, and maybe he can put one or two drives together. But I'm picking Steelers. I know I pick Steelers every week. I'm trying not to be a homer. I knew last week was a trap game, but I just didn't think we'd lose, especially not in that fashion. But this week, Steelers in a super tight, close one, maybe last possession, they get it done.
Trevor, what's the spread on that?
3.5 Baltimore's way. Yeah. Over under is 38. And for that reason, this is where I kind of inject my hot take here. Steelers score single digits, and we finally see Matt Canada fired.
Wow.
You're saying are you saying 3 field goals?
At best. Steelers score single digits again, and the Rooneys, Tomlin, they somehow get together, have a little brainstorm sesh, say, hey, we've got the bye week ahead of us. We can inject another guy in here and install a system fairly quickly. There'll be some growing pains with it, but we need to make change, and we need to make change now. Matt Canada gets fired after this game.
This is a very I kind of want to put a hot take back up. That I hope we lose. Actually, that
No. I don't. I never said I hope we lose. I said,
but I do now.
no.
I still don't think he's getting fired. Because
He might not. He might not. But if we go out and we lay another egg, and I know it's a division opponent, I know they have a good defense, and I know it's tough. But if we don't see change soon, Steelers fans are getting very impatient. Ownership, management is getting impatient. I've never seen the Steelers like this kind of skitsy at the upper management level about the state of the organization. I think we have enough. We see the bye week ahead of us. We have 2 weeks to prepare. We go at it for those 2 weeks. We get a new system in, and we move on from this atrocious human being of it. Well, not a human being. He's actually a nice guy. Atrocious offensive coordinator that is Matt Canada.
Just to throw, because people keep asking in the comments here. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. They want to know when the rant happened. It happened in the beginning. So I'll give you a little taster. I would not be opposed to them firing Matt Canada and for the rest of the fucking season, because there's a relationship there with this guy and Kenny, maybe and Mitch and Mason, whoever the hell's going to be in there. Mike Sullivan. Just have him run the coordinator, be offense coordinator for the rest of the season until we can make that.
Yes.
Hire. Quarterback coach. Nate, are you opposed to that? Having a quarterback coach come in as offensive coordinator, because he's already familiar.
No, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
I think it'd be the best transition, because I disagree with Trevor that they would change the system now.
Okay.
I don't even think they'll change the coordinator. But even if coordinators get fired, they rarely change the system.
Okay.
They're too deep. They can't learn a new playbook in the middle of a season. I know these are professional athletes, but you just don't have there's just no time. There's no time.
Maybe peel back.
But then put in some new plays.
Right.
It might be a different game, but they're not scheming different. So in terms of like maybe an immediate change, I think it's minimal. I think it's the scheme, the offense, and I do think that would be the best transition from QB coach to OC. But they're not going to change the scheme, and I still don't think Canada's getting fired. I'm not defending him. I just don't see it. You might as well let him ride, because here's the thing: he's already under contract. You might as well just pay him out and make him work for it, and then just say, all right, we're done now. I know it's terrible to go through it, but what players don't always understand and what fans don't always understand is you don't pick up a new offense out of the blue. It takes weeks and weeks to build it.
Right.
But hopefully if he does get fired, there's a chance that they would just call a better game and have a better game plan. The scheme's not changing, but maybe they'd have somebody in there that would run it differently.
And I don't want to hijack Trevor's segment here, but just real quick, do you think this guy actually has – I feel like, just based off of comments from other defenses, the players, Bob Papiani, fucking Tomlin, I think he has an offensive playbook that maybe is worthwhile. I think he just runs safe plays, and I don't think we have touched or even peeled back a fraction of his playbook. That could also be a thing. Like, why don't you run West Coast offense? Fuck it. Like, you can't, I don't understand.
Well, he has. You're right. He does have those plays in his playbook. We've seen those plays, albeit very, very, very sparingly.
Right. Well, if I like Trevor, Nate, and myself, if I suck at my job, I'm going to fucking try the best I can. If I really want to have this job, I'm going to try to figure it out. Like this guy. And I know everybody's like, oh, it's a cakewalk for him. He's offense coordinator for the Steelers. He's set for life. No, fuck that. Like, where's the pride element to this? Like, everywhere you go, people are yelling, fire you. Like I just don't get it. I don't get it. Is he smoking dope? What's going on? Like seriously. Do you have medication?
He's got enough straw in his hat that'll make you think that. So
holy shit! All right, I apologize, Trevor. Keep going, but I hope the
no worries. I figured that was going to be a bit of a long-winded one, which is why I didn't want to end the show on a sour note. So I wanted to, like I said, wanted to rip the Band-Aid off, talk about it one more time, get it out of our systems until we have to do this next week again. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Which is okay. We got Jags and Bills in London. Jags playing in London for the second week in a row. Bills going over there, I believe, for the first time. Believe it's their first time over there. Bright and early, 9:30, first game of the day. Bills favored by 5.5, over under 48.5.
Nate, you go ahead. I got to think on this one here.
I know. I think it's a tough one too. I think these are two of the best teams in the AFC. I'm trying to think who I picked. I just filled out the picks, and of course, it's not loading. But I believe I picked an easy win. But I think it's Bills were more worried about Miami. So
Right.
yeah, I think I picked Jacksonville in this one.
Okay.
Hey, Jags in London, right?
They're home away from home, man.
I just don't. I don't think. I don't think the Bills are gonna. Fuck. I mean, this is a game again. I would not bet on. Just
No, I
stay
agree.
away from it because
There's a lot of those this week. Here's
a factor I'm going to throw in there. Jacksonville's already over there, right?
Yep.
So they
Correct.
didn't even come home. So, fuck.
I
dude.
would
mean,
imagine not.
They got a week over there on ground, chilling. I don't know when the
Yep.
Bills are going. Probably Thursday, maybe Friday.
In all likelihood, yeah.
It's different element. Bills Mafia is not going to travel. I would be shocked if there is a lot of Bills fans. For some reason, the Jaguars always get this goddamn game, and the stands are filled with Jacksonville. I mean, I don't know, as an American product, we're going to send that team, but whatever. I'd say Jacksonville.
Turns out they're better than the Falcons to send over there.
Right. Right.
At least they were last week.
Jesus. Kyle Pitts didn't get that touchdown, Trevor. What the hell?
No, I know. He always gets a touchdown in London. He didn't. He did. He was. I got a good price on that too. I believe it was plus 320, and that was the only action I had on the early game last week. So
Same.
yeah, Kyle Pitts anytime touchdown did not hit. Unfortunately,
That's okay.
Falcons couldn't get it going, but it is what it is.
Yes.
I think y'all are hyping up overhyping up the Jaguars a little bit. We saw how good the Bills' offense was humming last week against Miami. I think they stay humming. I think they beat the Jaguars, and I think they cover that spread as well. It won't be a blowout. It'll be a decent game. Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen going to have a good battle, but give me the Bills.
Okay.
Give me the Bills.
Right on.
Oh, yeah. What else do I want to touch on here? From that matchup to kind of a weird matchup with two struggling teams, we got Saints-Patriots in New England. New England favored by 1.5. Over-under is 40, with two pretty defensive teams going at it. And we know how Derek Carr struggled last week. We know how much Mac Jones has been struggling, and the whole Patriots offense really can't get a run game going. But again, two clash of the Titans, so to speak, when it comes to defenses in the NFL.
What's the temperature going to be in New England?
That is a very good question. AccuWeather says 62, partly cloudy.
Derek Carr will be fine. It's not under 40. I have Saints.
That's a good point.
Because everybody fucking says it, and I love the guy. I do.
Great guy. Just can't play under 40.
Mac Jones, very bold take here. 80 yards, interception. Let's say 9 for 20. He sat in the in the second half. Bailey Zappi comes in. Saints blow it open.
Gonna go New England. I'm gonna go New England. Their backs against the wall. New Orleans' offense can't stay on the field.
Right.
I'm gonna go New England in New England. Tough place to play.
Notoriously, yes.
So, yep, I think this game means a little bit more New England. They got to get back on track to keep pace in the AFC. A win means a little bit more to them, I believe, at this point, because the Saints aren't desperate yet. Their division's not great. So I'm going to go with New England in a close one.
I think I'll take the Saints. Weirdly, I just have a weird feeling their offense is going to get going this week. I don't know why. Normally that doesn't happen in Foxborough, especially under Billy B. I might be committing a cardinal sin of sports betting here, but I'm betting against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I'll take the Saints. I'll take the Saints. 1.5 New England's way. So, yeah, very, very tight. Again, another one of those games, Drew. Maybe you don't touch with a 10-foot pole when it comes to betting.
I'm so confident right now, and people can go ahead and you guys can too. I'm going to go for alt spread -4 Saints.
That'll get you a good price right there. I don't know if I'll go that far, but I'll take the Saints actually by a field goal. I'd say a 23-20 game sounds about right, which would actually hit the over at that point. One more 1 o'clock game before we get into the late window here.
Yes, sir.
Which game was it? This one might be a little bit more of an obvious one, but I just want to hear the opinions on the spread and just how massive it is. I think you guys know which game I might be talking about here. G-Men going on the road against the Dolphins. We've talked enough about the Giants' ineptitude, and we know how good the Dolphins' offense can be. So, spread on that. Spread on that is 11, and over/under is 50. You said trap game, Drew?
Be a good story. Be a good story.
Be one of the upsets of the year. Although I think that already happened with Arizona beating Dallas.
Yeah. I have no fucking clue. I don't know what you do with that Giants offense. It's hard to watch. I might even put it up there worse than now. Steelers are worse. I can't even say that. I can't even.
They're pretty even. I mean, Steelers actually scored more points technically.
I'll take Dolphins. It's just a safe.
Yeah. Do they cover the spread though? 11.
Oh. I'd go maybe 8, 7, 7, 8. I wouldn't go 11. I'm not. I never go double. Only in college. I'm just superstitious.
Gotcha.
I'm picking Dolphins. I think they'll cover. I think the Giants are horrible. They're going to get Barkley back, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. They can't block for anybody. It doesn't matter who's back there, And it's not anything against Barkley. I don't care who's back there. I don't care if you have the best elements of every NFL running back ever combined back there. I don't think they'd still get it done with that offensive line the way they're playing and Daniel Jones' inability to connect with his receivers at the moment. I like Miami. I think that they're gonna score some points in that Giants defense. They're beyond frustrated for sure. They're always on the field and they haven't been as good as they were last year either. I like the Dolphins by more than 11 points in that one for sure.
Nate's a hell of a salesman. Actually, fuck that. I'll go 40-10. Now that I think about it, because he brought up
he got you with that Giants are horrible line, didn't he?
No, the Giants defense. The frustration
the defense.
Because if you look at the press conferences, the comments that have came out of that organization, I totally forgot about that. I drew a blank. That's my bad. Yeah. They're not wanting to play because they're pissed off and tired, and they just want a goddamn chicken finger platter. Like Mike McCarthy.
Chicken finger platter.
Yes, sir.
Oh God, yeah. No, Mike McCarthy would be the guy to order to DoorDash White Castle to the sideline. I think.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, he would do that. I love me some White Castle though. It's good stuff. Dolphins win comfortably by 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
I will say that.
Okay.
I will say that. We all know what their offense can do. We all know what the Giants' offense can't do. Dolphins win comfortably, big bounce back win, and they're still in the division conversation in the AFC East. Although I still think it's the Bills' division to lose.
Right.
Getting into the late window here, interesting matchup here with the Chiefs and the Vikings. Chiefs going on the road, going to Minnesota. Of course, 2 pretty high-powered offenses, quarterbacks that can sling the rock and put up a lot of yards, and 2 defenses that have come into question in the past, but of course Kansas City's been a little better. Spread's 5 to Kansas City. Over-under is 53.
Vikings. The Jets showed me something. If you can run the ball and get them out of their coverages and shit, the Chiefs defense isn't good. I'm going to be honest. I mean, if Zach Wilson can peel you out, why can't Kirk? I see Vikings. I see Vikings taking this. Not just because I love Kirk Cousins to death, but I hate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I'll get into my take here in a second. Go ahead, Nate.
Right.
Swifties rejoice. Chiefs score a bunch of points. Vikings defense continues to stink out loud, but the Chiefs defense does the same. Chiefs in a high-powered offensive showdown.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Nate. I think both teams are scoring in the 30s for this game. My only question is Taylor Swift going to make the trip to Minneapolis? I don't know. We'll see. She's been a good luck. She's been a good luck charm. She's been a good luck charm for the Chiefs and Travis Kelce so far. So
better be.
Like I said, as much as I'm sick of seeing those two and the love affair that's going on and how the media is just absolutely eating it up, I can't wait for that next T Swift album when they break up.
Roger's paying for her flights.
Mm-hmm.
The amount Roger Goodell's paying for her flights. I just want to make that clear to everybody.
Don't change to him. You know that.
Well, I'm just saying
he's getting off of it. He's getting free. He's getting free Swifties.
Let's cut this shit. Vikings kick the shit out of them. Come on. Then she'll stop coming. And then they can, the paparazzi can sit outside Kelsey's fucking little mansion out there in Kansas City and chase him down in his lowrider. What the fuck? Like, what are we doing? Like, would you guys ever think this was going to be I don't
know, man. I don't know. I didn't think Swift was in the football, but here we are.
She doesn't even know what the hell's going on. She's just there. Ryan Reynolds was there. That's what I gave.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Yeah,
I gave a shit more about Ryan Reynolds being there than Taylor Swift. I enjoyed the shit out of him. Just gotta have to say that if Taylor Swift comes to games and Ryan Reynolds a package deal, fuck it. She can come all she wants. I don't care. Doesn't bother me one bit. Comes in the Deadpool outfit. That would be something.
Christ.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's all good. From one Kelce Swift duo to another Kelce Swift duo, Eagles going on the road to LA and SoFi taking on the Rams, who I believe the Rams are just coming off a big win, and they look a little bit stronger than they did a few weeks ago. I'll just say that much. Eagles still 4-0, but their flaws, they're pretty pronounced at this point, or at least, analysts on ESPN and what have you love to cherry pick everything that's wrong with that team, even though they're undefeated. Spread 4.5 toward Philly, over under 50.5.
I'm saying Rams win. I'm sorry, the Rams are a better team than Redskins or Commanders. I apologize, Jesus. They're better than the Commanders by a long shot.
The Eagles, playing Eagles, buddy.
Yeah, he's talking about from last week's game.
Yeah, last week's game. Yeah, no, I screwed up there and threw out Redskins. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
But no, seriously, Matt Stafford. I mean, if Sam Howell can do that against your defense, I have no issue with Matt Stafford carving you up. I have no issue with that. If they get the offense flowing, Rams defense shows up, causes some fits for Hurts. I have Rams. What's the spread on that, Trevor?
4.5 toward the Eagles. Road favorite.
Let's go 3.5 Rams. That's how confident I am. Yeah.
Picking Philadelphia. No. Picking Philly. The Rams almost choked that away last week. Thank goodness for Puka Nacua as his unbelievable rookie season. I know that I personally am thankful that I tanked in the first week so that I could be the first waiver claim to pick up Puka Nakua and replenish my team in fantasy football. It's been the savior of my Joe Burrow. I figured might be, but no, he has not played up to standard for what he's been in the past year. Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles. I think that the Eagles, they find ways to win. They find ways to win. I think they've woken up. They didn't play their best on Sunday, but I think they'll be ready for this one.
Matt Stafford, prone to throw the interceptions so far this season. I think he throws a couple and an Eagles win. Eagles get the win at SoFi. And Nate, I'm still mad at you for the Braxton Berrios thing a couple years ago. You and your freaking waiver wire receivers, I swear. But no, Puka Nakua is going to be good for you. And has been good to you so far. Although he regressed a little bit these past couple games, but I think he'll be fine. Kind of on to the main event of the weekend, because the Monday night game, Packers, Raiders, it's there, sure. But one I'm most looking forward to here, Cowboys and 49ers. Obviously, Cowboys with their stellar defense, 49ers, same thing, but both can, they've proven in these last couple weeks here, they can also put points up on the board. So spreads 4 to San Francisco, over under 45.5. And nice, bright, and sunny San Francisco weather for this one. 78 degrees, partly cloudy.
I think we see a little kink in 49ers offense. They win. 49ers still win, though. It's a game of the year. Sunday, if people are watching to this point, Sunday, you need to watch that game. If you love football,
yes.
That's two teams. It's like the old Ravens-Steeler games, just a clashing of two good teams, good defenses just going at it. I can't wait to watch. So.
Can anybody stop Christian McCaffrey?
Right.
Good point.
Can't stop him on Madden either.
You can stop Deebo Samuel. But can't stop Christian McCaffrey. Touchdown, absolute machine. He gets 2 more against Dallas, and they win. Taking 49ers.
This isn't me sympathizing with the Cowgirls. This isn't me going to the dark side. I just have a weird feeling. about this game. I think the Cowboys take care of business.
Oh, shit.
I think the Cowboys take care of business on the road in San Francisco, and out of character, late turnover from Brock Purdy costs them the game.
Oh, I like that storyline right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still think CMC scores a couple touchdowns. I still think that'll happen. But Dak has a good game. I say he goes 3-1 touchdown interception ratio. And I think the Cowboys win it in a close one, 31-28.
Can't argue it, even if I picked against it. These are the Cowboys.
Like I said, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys. I don't want to root for the Cowboys. I just have a weird feeling about that game and the Cowboys on a Sunday night. I just do.
Right. Hey, the path to victory, if you look at this, the way the Cowboys have won some of these games, they lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to, and they beat teams that you're like, I don't think they're going to win that one, and they win. Consistently get to the playoffs, and they lose over the last 30 years. I'm not taking I'm just saying that's the trend. I don't know what it is. It's bizarre. You can't predict them. I can't argue it. That's going to be possibly the game of the year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Trevor, again, I would not go money line. Just do stats. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that, well, honestly, I'm kind of seeing an opportunistic one with the money line here, Jets at Broncos. I know we didn't touch on that one, but that's kind of the one. That's one where I would take the underdog. Bengals, Cardinals, I probably wouldn't touch either until Joe Burrow and the Bengals figure their shit out and they start to get a little more consistent of play on the offense and defensive side of the ball, really. And that partially the reason why I didn't really want to touch on those games. We've touched on those teams plenty, but
Right.
yeah, just kind of wanted to hit the highlights here. And yeah, Monday Nighter, I might tune in, but honestly, I'm probably just going to have Monday Night Raw on the big screen and then this on one of my laptops. So the Packers Raiders I'm speaking of. But yeah, that is that's all I had for y'all. So
I appreciate it. Just to throw one more thing out before the show. Nate, do you have anything else?
Well, just wanted to add while we were sitting here during the show, the Steelers made some changes to their organization. They made a big acquisition. They got Denzel Mims for their offense.
I saw that earlier today.
A big acquisition that they can do nothing with.
Because he's going to be on the practice squad, so
it's not Denzel Mims' fault.
no.
They can't get their guys the ball.
No.
I just wanted to kind of go on a nice little escapade to end the show about, is this really what we're going to do? Denzel Mims, and that's going to be a difference? Sorry, Denzel, but I don't think you can fix it, buddy. And it's not a shot at you. It's a shot towards what this team is right now. I don't care who you are. Nobody's fixing this.
I can't believe I'm going to say this live. And I'm happy it's at the end of the show. This organization is turning into a fucking joke to me. That's the change, Tomlin.
Hey, it's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. We still got 5 more days before the game.
How do you wake up in the morning after you get your wake up, you go get your Starbucks coffee, you come into that organization, you come into the building, and whatever. I can't. I'm gonna fucking blow. All right, we're gonna end the show. We'll have a little discussion. That just really fucking did it for me. I'm gonna say some shit I shouldn't say, and Trevor, you'll probably hear it on PlayStation later too. I'm gonna cut it here. We appreciate everybody watching tonight.
Fair enough.
Steelers better show up next week. You heard, our picks for the week coming up here for college and also NFL. We appreciate these guys here as always. Nate and Trevor taking time out of their day. We got to be. We also fuck. I didn't even say it. I got to do the promo for this. We also have a giveaway for tonight. Extra large, one topping pizza from Rick Stowboys. We see people that commented here. We'll reach out to who commented, and we'll enter you in that giveaway. And Rick will hook you up with a pizza down there. But as always, have a good day. Have a good night. God bless. Stay safe out there. Yeah. What?
T-shirts. T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Also, if you're interested in a T-shirt, these two guys are going to be receiving theirs. I feel like shit that it's been this long. I wanted to see. I did a small order. Wanted to see what they like. I'm not going to have them repping this beautiful shirt show that they come on every week with shit shirts. They deserve the best quality. So they turned out good. We're going to get another order in there, and it's going to be sent out. But if you're interested, you can get a shirt, get a hold of me or these guys, one of the two, and we'll go from there. But anyways, have a good day. Have a good night. God bless. Stay safe out there. All gas, no breaks. And this was another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys.